news for us in our area. So
Yeah.
we think maybe we can get into a home, we can afford it, but the interest rates, those are still high.
That's the problem, and we really thought that the Fed was going to drop rates. There were some estimations, maybe 6 times this year. It looks like they may not drop it, but perhaps once or twice, and that may not be until the beginning of September. But even though interest rates feel high to us now, look at this. I went back 50 years. In the mid-'70s, we were paying almost 10%. Throughout the 1980s, double digits. And primarily that's because we had high inflation, so the Fed decided it was going to squeeze the money supply, and that would lower inflation and get people into homes. And it worked through the 90s. And then we had the Great Recession. Remember in 2008 and 9? Well, at that point, the Fed decided to open up the money supply so that more people could have access to capital and buy and generate employment and create the housing market that we experienced. And then in 2020, we had the problem with COVID. A lot of people were out of work, but we still wanted to make sure that people could buy homes, and the housing market actually skyrocketed. Home prices did as well. But today's rate sits anywhere from 6.9 to about 7.2%. And that seems high when considering we only had 3 and 4% interest rates and as low as 2.5% just 3 years ago. But the 50-year average is 7.8%. So we are at historical average, and we're starting to get the sense now, Rebecca and Eric, that sellers are understanding that and are going to be more likely to put their homes on the market because they feel comfortable that these rates are pretty much going to stay where they are.
It's not going to move tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah, not likely. And even when the Fed drops, hopefully, at least once or twice this year, this will probably go to about 6.5%.
I love looking at 50 years though, like that. You know what I mean? And I'm of a certain age, and I know these things do. You do have to write it out sometimes. You do have to know things are going to change. But
well, if you were alive, like I was, I'm sure the two of you were just little kids by then.
I was alive.
But late 70s and early 80s, the prime lending rate was anywhere from 18 to 21%. And when you bought a house with 12% mortgage rate, you were thankful. You thought that was an outstanding deal. And remember, just as soon as 2020 and 2021, there were people with under 3%. That was insane. Never happened in the history of America. Never will again.
And we got about a minute left here, Bill.